Sometimes I feel like an old man. My brain just freezes and an idea that I thought of a second ago just gets absolutely obliterated by my malfunctioning brain. I start on my homework and I get sidetracked, or I start in a script and somehow end up watching more YouTube, and I justify it by saying to myself, it's for inspirational purposes. All this jumping around comes from the lack of what I think will be the most valuable commodity of the 21st century: focus. I went on a trip recently, and you look around and everyone is an NPC. I know that term has become kind of a meme recently, but I think it rings pretty true when you actually take a step back and look at the people all around you. When I was at the airport, almost everyone except for a few old geezers were glued to their phones. You know, just sitting there, drool coming out of their mouths, all bent over with a broken neck and dish, just mindless. Some of you might be thinking, well, obviously Jack, why did it take you this long to notice? But on this trip at the airport, it was just more apparent to me. I swear, your phone is not that interesting. The people all around you are way more interesting. On my airplane ride, I sat next to this older gentleman who was like,
"Hey, have you ever been to San Antonio before, young man?"
And I was like, no, I haven't. And he said,
"Oh man, you're gonna love it. Texas is great. Everyone owns a gun, everyone's nice, everything's cheap, and let me tell you, Texas is the place to be, because when California goes in the ocean and the west coast of America goes to shit, Texas is gonna be the place where the last stand of America happens."
We then proceeded to have a conversation for 30 minutes. Just because I didn't have my headphones in, I wasn't avoiding all eye contact with everyone on the face of the planet, and my face wasn't buried in my phone watching TikToks. Sure, he said some wild-ish and had takes that I definitely didn't agree on, but he was funny and had a worldview that made me have this story to tell you. The most slept-on cure to boredom nowadays in this world are the people all around you. You just gotta be willing to ask some questions. But also, I totally understand if you just want to mind your own business and do your own thing. I'm like that sometimes. But in my opinion, you're missing out on a lot of potential experiences, especially if you're younger and you haven't lived yet. The biggest thing that crushed me on this trip were the babies and children. If they cry or misbehave, shove a phone in front of them. Show them a TV show. If they start annoying you, hand them TikTok. And you know what the parents do the instant that the kid is sedated by the phone, no longer misbehaving? They open up their phone and become an NPC too, modeling the behavior to their kids that's going to be worse for them in the long run. And as I looked around the airport, it was like there were hundreds of demons lurking around behind every person on their phone, just injecting them with zero effort dopamine, making their eyes glaze over, and basically forget everything else around them. Sure, you can make the argument that it used to be books and newspapers instead of phones and technology, but there's a huge difference. Books take thousands of hours with numerous drafts. It goes to your editors, through your publication, and writing a book means a cycle of thoughts being tossed around through all these people and your mind. They are the pinnacle of human thought brought into the physical world. When you read a book, all those thousands of hours have been carefully curated so you can analyze them, reread them, and if you're reading the right books, it's the closest thing that you will ever get to having a real-life conversation with some of the smartest people to ever live. What I'm getting at is everyone, especially in the up-and-coming generations, is going to be consuming more and more media, more and more content. You see it everywhere, and it's not going to get better because all of these social media companies are making billions competing for your attention. I mean, the modern version of reading is Twitter. The difference between books and Twitter is that Twitter is basically fast food of thoughts. They aren't the thoughts that have been synthesizing in the author's brain. Most tweets are just vomited out by anyone and just put in front of you. Most of social media is frying your brain. We all know this. Whenever you're slightly bored, it's the cure to that. Whenever things get kind of awkward in front of people, it's the cure to that. Whenever you want to take a short break from your homework or something that needs your direct focus, it's the cure to that. Just pull out your phone. All your problems are cured. Putting all of your attention on one task in front of you with every neuron firing in your brain for that specific task is becoming rarer and rarer. And I feel that pull away from it all the time. But my guess is that in the next couple of decades, the ability to focus, and I mean truly focus, is going to be a lost art. It's going to be the primary difference that sets apart those that are winning in life and those that are not. More and more things, especially on technology, are begging for your attention. They're pulling you out of your life and into this black box, sending you videos which you're going to forget about 99% of them anyway. Because of all this, I'm trying to minimize my usage. For this next month, I'm going to try and see how much I can maximize my focus. My only time on social media will be for when I put out the work that I create instead of just consuming mindlessly. I'm going to try and output creativity as much as possible and try and focus on something that actually matters to me. What actually matters to you? Think about it. And instead of spending time getting sucked into watching all this media that you're just going to forget about anyway, why not go make memories that you're actually going to remember? Why not get better at something? Why not learn a new skill? Why not make memories that you can actually look back at with a smile on your face? instead of looking back at all the time you spent on your screen with guilt. Think about that.